Hey guys, it's me, Andy.
And I'm Sean.
And this is the Commander's Brew.
This week, Screaming Bald Guys.
Welcome back, everyone. It's episode 98 of the Commander's Brew podcast. Sean Tabaris, how are you doing?
I am great, Andy Hull. How are you?
I'm great. No one's messing with my brain. No one's pulling thoughts out of my mind.
I'm neither bald nor screaming.
Mm-hmm. Nope. And of course, as you know, because it says in the titles and all that sort of stuff, but today's episode is a very, very special one and a long time coming.
A long time coming. We've been toying around with this. Do you know that this idea, we tossed this idea around in the early days in your old place?
Yes, we did. I remember us talking about it then. I remember in the inception of this podcast that was brought up as a theme of a deck we could do.
Yep.
It's been brewing for a long time.
This might be the longest on the back burner episode we've ever had.
That's true. And I didn't both of us didn't feel like it was quite worthy of an episode 100 or some special designation of that stature, but we did want to do it in these few episodes leading up to it because it just had to happen before we cracked 100, I think.
I think so. I agree.
Yeah.
But what are we going to crack 100 for this podcast? If you are just tuning in, it's the Commander's Brew. We do a deck a week, and it's going to be under $50. And no card in it. It's going to be over $5 unless it's just got to be in there.
Exactly. That goes doubly for this this specific deck because there's not very many cards over $5 with screaming ball guys on them.
There are not too many. No.
Not too many. No. Of course, we haven't talked about it off the top of the show in a while, so let's do it today. We do, of course, have a Patreon. You can check us out at patreon.com/commandersbrew. If you'd like to support the show directly, you can do that at any amount or any rate you would like. You can do it once and that sort of thing. And we do have perks that you can get from there. You can get we have coasters, we have T-shirts. We are even we're in the process of getting some other fun things, which may happen, I guess. After Vegas? Would you say?
Yeah, after we're so close to GP Vegas, we have a big giveaway coming up for patrons because we have cracked a milestone of having 100 people supporting us. Is that what it was? What was it? Yeah, it was that. Yeah. But we're also very close to cracking just another monetary milestone. So we're going to have to, for sure, when we get back from Vegas, we got to do a huge celebration, give a bunch of stuff away. So this is probably the best time to become a patron to get in on that action.
Exactly. And yeah, you can do so at patreon.com/commandersbrew. And in fact, so last week, a lot of you noticed that we had a bit of a technical mishap in that I left Sean and I discussing what the Commander's Brew interview would be that week, which we usually edit out because, I don't know, you don't need to hear us planning the thing. You just want to hear it happen. But it turns out a lot of people really liked it. They thought it was pretty fun. So we did get quite a response about it. So we've decided to leave that sort of content in the show for our patrons.
Yeah.
So if you become a patron, now you will have access to an unedited version of the podcast that includes fun banter like that.
Yeah, like the little in-between stuff. If you normally listen to it on your iPhone in the car or something like that and not through Patreon, you'll just have to skip ahead to that part and listen to that chunk.
Yeah, exactly. But that's going to be a new feature for the people who support the show directly. So yeah, look forward to that. Again, more things coming up. GP Vegas is in 2 short weeks away, I believe, at this point.
Less than that.
Wow. Less than 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, and we will be in Las Vegas in less than 2 weeks from now. It's blowing my mind. I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It'll be our first time out there for a big GP like that. So we hope to meet. Go ahead.
I got to decide what I'm going to wear. I got to decide what decks I'm going to bring. I got to decide.
You're not just bringing all of them?
I can't. I don't know. There's no way. I have too many decks. I cannot bring all of them.
You're playing a lot of Commander out there, I think.
I know. I think I can probably. I feel like I can probably subsist off of 5 or 6 decks.
Yeah.
I can probably last the whole time on 5 or 6 decks and be happy.
You're gonna bring a range of stuff. Or you're gonna bring a range of decks.
Yep. I'm gonna bring like what my like most like my most like solid deck.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring like decks that I'm really into these days, and I'm gonna bring a couple of really silly ones.
That's great. You got to run the full gamut of Commander, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of people out there playing all sorts of stuff. So hopefully get some Cuban in. Hopefully get a lot of different stuff in, and not Cuban like Cuban links, like cubing. I've heard that goes down.
Playing cube, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Okay, so also in GP Vegas, our friends and sponsors, the Wizard Tower, will be there. Believe it or not, they're going to be there, and they're going to have T-shirts, Commander's Brew T-shirts on Sale, so you don't even have to be a patron to get it there. You can just come to GP Vegas and grab some of that stuff, and of course, we have an ad for them this week, and here it is.
Hello, I'm here to talk to you about the Take Your Child to Work program on Amonkhet. As you know, most of the living people are only training to be worthy of the trials, worthy of the gods' attention. But us mummies gotta get the real work done, and what better way to learn a trade than be an apprentice to one of your parents? You know, presumably you gotta be able to figure out which one is your child, because when everyone's wrapped up in white bandages, it's tough to figure out who's who. But assuming you know which mummy child is yours, you can bring them to work with you, whether it be gardening, or cleaning up floors, or putting bandages on fierce warriors that are training. Or maybe you work at the local Wizards Tower, wizardtower.com, where you can get free shipping on singles to Canada with every order $15 or more, and get free shipping to the United States on singles $10 or more. And if you use coupon code Tower of Brews, you'll get an extra 5% off those orders. And you'll get 3% kickback on your next order for every order that you make. What a great deal to bring your child to work with. I mean, it's you know, let's not think about that too much. I mean, it's a pretty morbid idea, the fact that, like, we used to be alive, but now we're sort of slaves. But anyway, I like working, I like doing things, I like having a purpose, you know? I wasn't worthy, Hazaret deemed me unworthy, put a big spear through my heart, bunch of fire, but man, this is great. And these mummy kids doing some great work here. Mummy birthday parties, real fun. Anyway, come on down, and if you see little ones working, be a little bit patient with them.
It's nice to hear that there are community like outreach things to just make the community stronger like that on Amonkhet.
I didn't expect them to have such a strong sense of community, to be honest. I thought it
Yeah, I guess if no one ever dies.
I mean, that's,
like if you always come.
Yeah, your family is all around you all the time, so it and your friends. So no matter what happens, it's just that now
I wonder if
they might be wearing a lot of like white tape all over them, or bandages.
I wonder if you like mix up, people ever mix up their mummies with like other people's mummies, where they're like, oh, sorry, they look the same. I thought this was the one who cleans my floors.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were Temet. Ooh, sorry. I thought you were.
Are they basically just slaves?
I don't know. I don't know about Amonkhet, the story. I used to be really up on my like reading the little stories on the mothership, but now I haven't read one in a long time. I didn't read any of the Kaladesh ones. That's when I fell off.
Oh wow. Yeah. Like as far as I know, the mummies they were brought back to life to do the grunt work so that the people can train. But are they just slaves? Like, do they keep the names? Like, what? Like, if your relative came back as a mummy, I would feel bad making like my aunt just clean my room all the time and like stand around and hold things.
Aunt Bonnie, move the fan faster, Aunt Bonnie.
Bonnie.
Make your other mummy guys fly, Aunt Bonnie.
Aunt Bonnie, do you want to be a fan bearer?
Yeah.
Or
What's going on, Bonnie? Here, help me out now. Is that what they do? They just bring the mummies back and make them work for them?
from what I gather, all the people who are like alive are only just training to pass the trials of the gods, so that when the god pharaoh Nicobolus comes back, they're worthy. And then to give them more time to train, they bring back the mummies to do all the cleaning and the chores and the food preparation and the gardening and all that stuff.
But is Nicobolus going to take all the mummies instead because they're zombies and he's from, well, not from Grixis, but he's a Grixis dude.
Listen.
He's way into zombies, maybe?
Oh, okay, here's my question. What's so bad about this Nicobolus guy?
Yeah, right?
I mean, like, if he's just created this cool plane for everyone to, like, be the best people and sure, he's on it, but, like, no one's being tortured. There's a god, like, it seems like a pretty great place.
It's fine.
So, like, what do you gotta stop him?
You got to do some trials. You got to do some tests. You know what I mean?
You know what?
Do we not have trials
Big
here?
deal.
Do we not have tests? And we don't even have any. We don't have much hope about going to some other plane. At least they got that. You know what I mean? They got a big dragon guy
Yeah,
they
right?
know is coming back. You know, we got 1,000 everythings. Nobody knows what's going on out here.
Yeah, right? We can't agree on one thing.
Yeah, exactly. But there, they know the big dragon guy's gonna come.
I don't know. So, like, are the Gatewatch the bad guys for trying to stop all that? Like, what if he just comes? Like, what if Nicobolus shows up and everyone's just like, "Hey, we got to destroy you"? It's like, why? What's up?
What did
You don't like it here?
Nicobolus do in Alara? Wasn't he involved there somewhere?
I think he.
Was he
I
up
don't
for
know. He did.
Did he like did he make the shards? Like, did he destroy Alara and make it into the different things? I don't know.
Maybe. No, but he's from the Grixis part of it.
So he's not from Grixis though. I thought he was from Amonkhet.
I think he made Amonkhet. I think he's from Grixis. I don't know.
Like how
we should know more
Karn-
about him.
Yeah, we should. It's just speculation at this point. Just useless speculation. Like Karn
I know
made
that-
Mirrodin, right? You right?
Did he make Mirrodin?
I think he did.
No.
Yeah.
But Karn was made by Urza.
Yeah. And then he
then-
had a spark. And then
He just made a new plane?
Yeah, he made Mirrodin, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Way to go.
Yeah,
But now the Phyrexians got it.
But he's not a bad guy. What, you can't make planes?
I mean, making a plane is not a way to be a bad guy. So maybe they're just hunting down Nicobolus for his old crimes.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know.
I guess he did something wrong.
There is a portion of our listeners who really love the Vorthos and are really into it. And I always appreciate you guys filling us in on the things we make wild assumptions about and don't know about. And I sincerely hope these conversations don't drive you insane.
Yeah, I bet
Like,
they
I
drive
hope
you
you're
insane a little bit. I bet they do
a little bit of insane's okay, but
so let's get to the first segment of this show of today's
Sure.
episode, which is,
Segment
of course,
the Commander's Burn.
the Commander's Burn. The Commander's Burn.
We're gonna burn a card that is just worth burning. That's not to say it's not playable. It's not to say there's nothing good about it, but it's just a card that needs to be taken down a peg because it thought it was too good. This week, we're roasting the Inverter of Truth. 2 black, Eldrazi, 6/6. Devoid. This card has no color. Flying. When Inverter of Truth enters the battlefield, exile all cards from your library face down, then shuffle all cards from your graveyard into your library. In its shadow, everything changed. All right, Inverter of Truth, we always use the hashtag Commander's Burn and have listeners write in their favorite burns. So do you want to start, Andy, on some listener burns?
Sure. So our boy Jessica Angel writes, hey, Inverter of Truth, great job inverting my usual feelings about opening a mythic rare. I think that's my favorite one already. I love it.
Yeah, great.
It's a crisp burn.
At Jesse B. Durant, Inverter of Truth, you have no color because even black feels you're too depressing to play.
Ooh, burn. Taylor Rogers at T_laser wrote, hey, Inverter of Truth, you make me wish Wizards had just reprinted Leveler.
It's a deep cut.
That is
Look
a
up what
deep cut.
Leveler is.
Let's bring up Leveler real quick so we all get that one. Leveler's 5 colorless for an artifact creature. That's a 10/10 that says when Leveler comes into play, remove your library from the game. It's, he's right. Yeah, man. 4 mana 6/6 flyer. That's terrible. Like, those are just hard to come by.
Yeah, yeah. And then Andy and I are going to always do some burns too. How about this? Hey, Inverter of Truth. People like you even less than that guy at the office who thinks it's fun to have Inside Out T-shirt day.
Who's that guy? I don't know that guy.
That guy's the Inverter of Shirts.
Inverter of Truth is that guy who like tells you a lie and then you catch him on it later and he's like, I didn't lie, I just inverted the truth. And you're like, oh, get out of here, Simon.
Yeah. Hey, Inverter of Truth, aka Simon. You're such a bad card that Lab Maniac called and wants his win condition back.
Does he have 4 legs?
I don't know.
Does Truth have 4 legs? It looks like it. I don't know.
Maybe.
Okay, never mind. Go to your next burn then.
Oh, hey, Inverter of Truth. Burn on you because you can't invert our truth because it's so hard to even know what is true anymore these days. Burn on me.
Burn on you.
Burn on me.
Hey, Inverter.
Burn on journalism.
Hey, Inverter of Truth. Way to have the same nickname as the President of the United States. Oh,
Yikes!
Burn.
Yeah,
deep burn.
Yeah,
Okay,
sick burn. All right, good. So, if you want to participate, please use the hashtag #CommandersBurn. And who are we roasting for next week, Andy?
Okay, next week is one I think a lot of us Commander players are going to be well versed with. It's Epic Experiment. If you've played Izzet or Teamer, especially, is a big one I know with this card. You know it pretty well. Epic Experiment is an X spell. It goes X blue-red for a sorcery that says exile the top X cards of your library for each instant and a sorcery card with converted mana cost X or less among them. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Then put all cards exiled that way that weren't cast into your graveyard. So it's a Genesis wave for instants and sorceries, and it's often unplayable despite looking like it's going to be as good as Genesis wave. So yeah, there you go. Burn away. Epic Experiment.
Yeah. Oh man,
the number of times
Sad.
I've wanted to put that card into a deck and you just can't is too high.
Yeah, man, it's just like, it's so disappointing because it seems like the perfect Izzet card. Like, it's exactly what a spells deck wants to be doing. But I think it's just all those lands just get in the way. Like, you're going to only hit like less than 50% of the time. So that sucks.
You're going to hit artifacts. You're going to hit creatures. You're going to hit enchantments. It's just not as good as Genesis Wave because permanents are very different than instants and sorceries. Unfortunately.
Man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, anyways, listen, it's a cool card if you build around it. And I was saying to Sean right when we said we're going to burn this next week, I was like, maybe we should just do an episode on Epic Experiment, make it work somehow. So look out for that as well.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
But let's get to this long time coming episode, themed episode. It's an art theme. We haven't done one of these in a while. And this is speaking of Epic Experiment, this is an epic one.
Yeah. This is all about screaming bald guys. So you can probably think of a few cards. You've seen it throughout Magic's history. There's been so many cards with like usually a bald guy doing this.
Yeah.
Right? Something like that.
Yeah, with either his head his hand or someone else's hand on his head at some point.
Right?
And of course, it goes without saying that if you're listening to this episode, it's not going to be quite as good without seeing the art itself. So this is a very good one to head over to youtube.com/commandersbrew and check out this episode because we have all the cards coming up and you can see them all.
Yeah. So we could call this Screaming Bald Guy Tribal or Headache Tribal or anything
that's good,
that. Yeah.
I never thought of a headache tribal, but that's really good.
So let's go. Yeah. So what are some of the right? Sometimes a lot of the cards are because we, the spellcasters, that's our library of cards, and it's the notion that like ideas are being attacked within our brain. Like
Right.
we've memorized all these cards, so like there's a lot of like brain stuff going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's also sometimes people just who are just like ready to fight, who are just like ready to just scream and go into battle. That's true too.
That's true. That's the side I didn't anticipate. I knew all about the like mind rot style cards and all that sort of stuff, but I didn't anticipate the screaming bald guys running into battle, which there are quite a few of as well.
Yeah, right. There's two kinds of screaming. There's screaming in pain and then screaming
Screaming in
to do
anticipation.
the job.
Yeah. So let's start with the commander. Who
Yeah.
did we choose here?
Well, we needed someone who covered Grixis because those are the most important colors. But there's no really good screaming Grixis deck commanders. But when you open it up to 5-color, you have one of the best screaming bald commanders there are, Child of Alara. Child of Alara is a 5-color commander. Wooburg, legendary creature avatar, 6/6 trample. When Child of Alara is put into a graveyard from play, destroy all non-land permanents that can't be regenerated. Now look, this deck was not designed to be playable. I mean, it's playable. You could play it, but you're probably never going to cast your commander. But look at this screaming bald baby.
Yes, it sure is. 100%. It is a screaming bald guy, little baby. Could be a girl. Guy in this point is just, they are mostly guys, to be honest. There are very few screaming bald ladies in Magic, but this is a small screaming baby, so this fits in perfectly. Child of Alara. 5 colors, although this is not a 5-color deck.
No.
Not at all. Okay, so that's and what's the did we figure out the general sort of?
I mean, right. You can cast your spells.
Yeah.
You can cast your creatures and enchantments. There is a little bit of a discard theme going on because most of the cards that have screaming bald guys are kind of mind rot-esque. So there is a little theme there. So, I added a few cards that kind of play towards that. But for the most part, it's just, there's a few vanilla creatures in here who are just great screaming bald guys.
Yes, there are. There are quite a few. All right, well, let's get right into it. Let's talk about some screaming bald guys. Right?
All right. Andy, why don't you take the inspiration for all this?
Well,
the original screaming bald guy.
So, okay, and we have all the right art on this, right? Like, this is very important.
Yes.
Okay.
Although there's an alternate for this one that's good. Too,
okay.
That we should pull up. Yeah.
So Mind Rot is 2 and a black, and target player discards 2 cards. And the old school Mind Rot art is definitely a guy screaming with the top of his head exploding. Is he bald? It's possible. But if you want to get real technical, when you come down to the Dragons of Tarkir version of the art, we have a screaming bald Jinn. So there you go. We have a screaming bald guy here. We definitely do. So Clint Kearley or Searley definitely knew what he was doing when he drew the Dragons art for Mind Rot.
I would love to read the art notes that they send to the artist for Mind Rot.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like it does it describe holding the head and screaming, or is that just how everyone interprets thoughts being violently ripped from your head from an force?
It must be that. It's like a person's thoughts are forcefully being removed somehow. And in this one, they were like, and also add some dragon's teeth.
Yeah.
So I mean, this isn't exactly what I think of when I think of Mind Rot. When I think of Screaming Ball Guys. There's one or two others that are a bit more iconic to me, and of course we'll get to those. But this is definitely the one that encompasses the feel of these cards and generally the look as well.
Yeah. Let's move on. You want a great screaming bald guy? How about Endless Scream? Black X, enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +X+0. It's just a purple bald guy who's screaming and a bunch of screaming mouths behind him.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other screaming bald heads behind him, it looks like. So this one is extra points for extra screaming bald guys on it. Who knows
and
who this is?
I didn't read the Oracle text.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Who knows who this is? The Oracle text actually is enchant creature, endless scream enters the battlefield with X scream counters on it. And the creature gets +++ for each scream counter on here. So, like,
Wow.
we got scream counters.
We have scream counters. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I guess,
Yeah.
that's how they would have to do it now, because it's not... I didn't even realize it was an enchantment. I just assumed it was like a sorcery or something.
Yeah.
Yep, so scream counters on Endless Scream sounds right to me. What a scream. Next we have Stain the Mind. So we're talking about a bit more of a more recent card. We've got from M15, Stain the Mind is 4 and a black, and it's a sorcery with Convoke. And it says name a non-land card, search target player's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with that name, and exile them. Then that player shuffles his or her library. So this is an example of a card that we hardly ever play in Commander. I'd say basically never. But it's got a great Screaming Bald guy on it. And this is another theme that you're going to come across with these cards is sometimes it's super zoomed in and all we see is the energy or whatever coming out of the Screaming Bald guy's head. But a lot of times there will be a person behind him doing the extracting of the energy or thoughts, or in this case, purple lightning. Some sort of
maybe
evil,
you'll
like...
just see...
What's that?
Maybe you'll just see like some sort of blue ethereal spear going into their brain, like, but you don't see who's behind it, right? Like,
yeah, like who's this guy? Like, first of all, what are you getting out of this bald guy's head that's so important? You know,
you gotta get his Sol ring. He's going for his Sol ring.
This crazy necromancer is just electrocuting the crap out of this guy's head. Leave him alone,
like,
man.
At that point,
he just wants to
wouldn't it be
play
easier...
baseball.
At that point, wouldn't it be easier to just like slit his throat?
But then you can't get the thoughts. He killed his brain if he did that.
Yeah, I guess so. You want the thoughts.
You want those thoughts. That's the whole point. You want the thoughts. It's really all about the thoughts.
Yeah.
My thing is, like, you know, this guy looks like the guy, I don't know, he looks like he's the catcher for the San Diego Padres. Like, I don't feel like this guy has a ton of great thoughts, you know? What's this necromancer going to do with that?
Maybe the necromancer was hired by another ball club to steal the signals for all the pitches.
Yeah, that's what it is. Done.
Yeah.
Magic is mostly about baseball after all.
Okay.
What's next?
Moving on. Surging Dementia. Oh, gross. 1 and a black. It's got Ripple 4. What is Ripple? As a Commander player, we
certainly
don't
nothing
usually
we'll
use
ever
this.
need to know.
Yeah, right? Basically, if you play the spell, you reveal the top 4 cards of your library, and if you have more Surging Dementias in that 4, you get to cast them. There is an artifact that gives all spells a ripple, so I've heard people try to do this with that, like, the Athreos deck with all those, like, little clerics. You can have infinite of those 1-mana clerics.
Oh, yeah.
So people just give those ripple, and you just, like, cascade into your whole deck, basically.
Yeah, that would work. That's like and I guess you could do it with Relentless Rats too, I suppose.
Sure. So like there's an outside case for it. But anyway, this effect of this card is just target player discards a card. And there's a guy, talk about something going on. He's a Screaming Bald guy with a glowing energy hand reaching into his skull.
Like it looks like a weird glove. It looks like a work glove that just has a very bright red light shining on it.
Yeah, and the energy of the glove is reaching through his head into his brain. It's a pretty dark, like it's these are horrid images.
Yeah, these are straight out of like a weird metal album or some sort of 80s horror magazine or something. Like this is pure Fangoria right here.
Yeah, right?
But it's cool.
Cool.
It looks cool as hell, man. You know, like,
yeah, man. Exactly like Fangoria.
Also, can I just say Surging Dementia, what a great metal band name. And I know that that's a thing that you do with black cards and Magic is like, you know, who has the best metal band name, but Surging Dementia with this as your main logo, what a wicked band that would be.
Yeah, for sure.
Great.
Okay.
So
So we've been covering a lot of black cards, but there are red cards with Screaming Bald Guys too. Andy, why don't you take this next one?
There are, and this one was a happy discovery. We got Mad Prophet, 3 and a red for creature human shaman. He's got haste. He says discard a card, or tap him, discard a card, draw a card. He's a 2/2. You may, if you're more familiar with the dual deck or the Avacyn Restored version of this, you may be thinking, why that man has very long hair? How does he fit into this? Well, the Shadows over Innistrad version is clearly a man who is balding. He has quite a receding hairline to the point where he's basically Hulk Hogan as an aging dude. So he's counts as bald and screaming, and he's yelling at you. He's definitely screaming, this guy. It's a different kind of scream though. We gotta mention that. This isn't a scream of agony or physical pain. This is a scream of mental desperation. I have seen the end, seen the beginning of the end. Not death, no, transcendence. That's what he's yelling at you while ringing a bell. So imagine a bell also.
But like that guy did see Emrakul coming and no one believed him.
Yeah. And it drove him mad, so like they're kind of right to not believe him. Because he is also crazy, but he's crazy because of what he saw. It's like a paradox. Right. So
man, poor guy. So he has no hair on the top of his head.
Yeah, and the guy needs some serious Rogaine. So also bad news for him.
Let's go on to Mind Blaze. Back to our familiar holding your head in agony. 5 and a red sorcery. Name an online card. Choose a number greater than 0. Target player reveals his or her library. If that library contains exactly the chosen number of cards with the chosen name, Mind Blaze deals 8 damage to that player. Then that player shuffles his or her library. So he's in the mind rot pose. He's holding the sides of his head. But you'll notice, like, is he bald? Hard to say because he's got a helmet on under there. But red Screaming Bald Guys also have beards.
That's true. Mad Prophet did have a beard. Mind Blaze has a beard. Yes, you're right. They're more hardy.
There's something about the red part of the color pie that makes you have a beard.
Yes, it sure does. Absolutely. The weird thing about the art on Mind Blaze that I just kind of noticed, it kind of looks like those are not his hands. Like, it kind of looks like there's a little kid holding up a mask that's this. Right?
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it kind of looks like those are like younger hands than that face.
It's kind of like Tina Fey's book. Where like on the back, like she's leaning on her hands, but they're clearly like gigantic dude arms.
Yes, exactly.
On this like small woman.
This guy, of course, wearing a helmet. We can't quite see, but you know what? For the purposes of this, we're going to assume that's a bald guy. I just want to say this card really stinks.
Do you think it really stinks?
I think so, right? It costs 8 damage. This will always hit for 8, but you have to pay 6 to do it.
But you will always you will always get a hit off of this.
Yeah. Well,
I guarantee you'll be able to name.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, you'll be able to name.
You can probably guess, right? If it's green. Yeah.
But also, of course, Commander has the added downside for this card in that we have 40 life instead of 20, so it's not quite as big a chunk as it would be in regular Magic. So.
Yeah. I mean, 8's a lot, but I just think it's too much to go through.
Yeah. Anyways, Mind Blaze. Are those hands? Are those his hands? You decide. More red Screaming Bald Guys. This time, a certifiable, definite bald guy screaming. And again, look at that beard. We got Mind Moil. Is it players specifically, and Niv Mizzet players will know it, Mind Moil. It's 4 and a red for an enchantment that says whenever you play a spell, put the cards in your hand on the bottom of your library in any order, then draw that many cards. So yeah, this is also the what's his name? Arjun. Right. That's the ability on a creature, and Mind Moil is the original, of course, from what's that, from Ravnica?
This is original Ravnica, yeah.
Mind Moil. So there you go. This guy's having a real hard time. Not only are those like thoughts and that energy coming out of his head, it's also now like swirling around him. This guy's got no idea what's going on. He's going straight crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
So many watercolors coming out of his brain.
Yeah. I like the different takes on what's happening when your mind, when the ideas just shoot out of your mind. Red is
Yeah,
definitely a
right?
different feel.
Oh man. So a lot of those are just classic screaming bald guys. But if we were going to expand our range of what we mean by that, there's a lot of screaming bald non-human guys.
That's right.
Right?
That's true.
Like most of these have been humans so far with, various wizards and things interacting. But like we got to talk about ogres. There's so many great screaming bald ogres. How about ogre menial, 3 and a red? It's a 0/4 ogre with infect. And it's got fire breathing, so red, it gets +1/+0 till end of turn. I don't know, man. Like, I guess if you're mono red, you could pump it up enough to do a kill, but look at that guy scream. Not only is he screaming, poison gas coming out of his mouth.
Yeah, Ogre Menial, probably a pretty underrated, maybe not underrated, but thought of infect card. I don't think anyone's really thinking of old Ogre Menial when it comes to their infect decks.
Probably not.
They're probably just not including red, period.
Yeah.
Not really the colors for that. But I didn't even know there was a red infect creature.
There's a first striker, too. There's a red first striker with infect, I believe.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But yeah, Ogre Menial, big bald monster having a scream. What else we got here? Next is another ogre. It's Reckless Ogre. 3 and a red for a 3/2 that says if Reckless Ogre attacks whenever Reckless Ogre attacks alone, it gets +3/+0 until end of turn. Hey man, this is what we're dealing with in this deck. We're dealing with guys that are 0/4s you need to pump with infect, and we're dealing with guys that only want to attack alone and only get a power boost.
Like I said, you're not playing this deck because you want to win. You're playing this deck because you want to cast spells and then do your impression of the card and just spend most of your night yelling.
Yeah, what do you think this guy's yelling about? So obviously he's in the fit of battle, but specifically, it seems like he's tossing wizards around here. What do you think is his thing? He seems to be like, la, la. Is he saying yeah? He's got a lot of teeth in this yell.
I'm just imagining just like a basic scream. I think because he's alone, right? He has to be attacking alone. So if everyone leaves him alone, he's probably like, "Leave me alone."
Yeah, I like leave me alone. Yeah, I think that's what it is. There's no such thing as a regiment of ogres. Well, apparently that's how it works. What's next here? Another ogre.
Ooh, we got Barrage Ogre, 3 red ogre warrior 3/3 tap. Sacrifice an artifact. Barrage Ogre deals 2 damage to target creature or player. We don't have a lot of artifacts anyway, but man, look at the teeth on this guy. He is screaming and bald.
Yeah.
I would not want to get near those teeth.
This guy's like that guy in the Guinness Book of Records who eats airplanes.
Oh, yeah. Or he ate a bicycle or something.
Do you remember that guy? You know what I'm talking about?
I do. He would eat metal things by eating a little piece at a time.
Because he would have 3 rows of teeth or something. Like that was his thing. That was his bizarre thing.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Gross.
Anyways, that's Barrage Ogre. You're a pure weirdo, bud. Go to Ripley's Believe It or Not.
So, I want to preface this next one. We're going to move on to giants.
Right.
And one of the first giant we're going to do is Hill Giant, but we're going to show you the progression that Hill Giant has made over the history of Magic.
Okay.
Right? The very first Hill Giant, let's pull it up here. The very first Hill Giant, not screaming at all.
Nope.
Very calm.
Very calm.
Just enjoying the hill.
Having a stroll.
Hill Giant is just a vanilla 3/3 for 4.
Yep.
3 and a red, right?
He's a classic. He's what you generally refer to 3/3s for 4 as. You refer to them as Hill Giants. Should be noted, he is bald.
He is bald. And then as we go forward, a few sets in.
Okay, we're looking at 9th edition here.
Yeah, he's pretty mad.
Yep.
But he's not screaming.
No, he's not screaming. He seems to have beefed up a bit.
He's beefed up a lot.
He's beefed up quite a bit. He's no longer the Mr. Bean looking math he once was. He now he was a slim Rowan Atkinson giant looking guy. And now he looks like, I don't know, like the Thing from the Fantastic Four. Like
he's a bit like Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
But
He's got a real Drax look to him.
Yeah, right? Yeah. But he's not screaming. So he's just, but I guess the steroids eventually got to him and gave him that rage because now.
The very next edition, 10th edition.
Yeah, now he's a screaming bald guy.
Wow, now he's so mad. And he's got chains all over his arms and stuff. Wow, yep. Hill Giant started off being a relaxing dude who was forced into battle, and now who's like, I just want to go back to wandering the hills.
Yeah, I just want to go back to driving my 3-wheeled car around.
Yeah. And making my sandwich in the park.
And doing hilarious things at the mall with the nativity scene.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Bean, get into it. Mr. Bean, also known as Hill Giant. That was a good one. These are great. I like that progression. I didn't even see that coming. Giants are a good spot for screaming ball guys. We also have Nightfire Giant, which is a black giant with a red activated ability. This guy was really good and limited, I remember. 4 and a black for a 4/3. Nightfire Giant gets +1/+1 as long as you control a mountain. And his activated ability is 4 and a red. Nightfire Giant deals 2 damage to target creature or player. Yeah, this guy. Now he has is that a skull?
I think it's right. So it's debatable whether or not he's screaming.
Oh, he's screaming. Look at that look. Look at that look on his face and that wide open, his open mouth, right?
Yeah, he's screaming purple smoke,
Yeah, which is coming up from his chest also.
Yeah, what a creepy dude.
I love this guy. I wish there was something that could make him at all commander playable. Maybe if that activated ability was cheaper or something, it would be fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, I like the art on this one too. Nightfire Giant, big screaming giant.
Another giant that's really screaming, and he's I just noticed he's throwing a deer. Poor deer.
Yeah.
That's horrifying.
It says a typical
red.
A typical day for a giant, a momentous event for a goat. So he's just gonna whip that goat up the mountain or something?
Yeah. Is it a momentous day when you get splattered on the side of a mountain?
Yeah, what are they talking about?
Threw you like a fastball?
Yeah.
What a horrible guy. Anyway,
Yikes.
Yeah. Okay, right. So Stone Giant, I get it. Because he's got the ability tap, target creature you control with toughness less than Stone Giant's power gains flying until end of turn, then you destroy it at the beginning of the next end step. So he threw that creature, and that creature died.
He flings things that are smaller than him.
He is the card fling on a body, but worse.
But with a restriction because he can only throw things that he can lift, which makes sense.
Makes
I actually
sense.
kind of really that flavor is bang on, eh? That's perfect.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
It is.
It's
It's
just
really
sad
good.
to think of that little goat being thrown at things.
It's a monstrous giant. What's he gonna do? The guy's also he's pretty pissed off about losing all of his hair in his mid-20s.
Yeah, right. That guy's 25 years old.
Yeah, there's a lot of anger there.
And I had to put a bonus one in called Flowstone Giant because when I typed in Stone Giant, they both appeared and they look kind of the same, but Flowstone Giant's the melty version of him.
You think these guys look the same?
Well, look at the pose. The right arm is back. If you flip back and forth between the images, they're very similar.
Okay, I'm flipping back and forth. Yeah, I guess the arm is in the same position, sort of. He's yelling. Yeah, he looks. Yeah. Flowstone Giant looks like Clayface.
Right, but he is bald and he is screaming.
He's bald and he is screaming. You're not wrong about that. All right, so we got a few others outside of humans, giants, and trolls. The first one, this is one that I discovered when we first talked about it. I cobbled a small list of screaming ball guys together and I laughed pretty hard when I saw this guy, Carnivage. Carnivage is 1 black for a 2/2. That says during your upkeep, you have to pay 1 life or tap Carnivage. And listen, just because if you don't have skin, does that mean you're bald?
I think so.
Right? Yeah. You don't have any hair on your head. No matter what's going on, that means you're bald, I think.
Yeah,
that's what
right?
I say. So Carnivage has no skin. He's pure muscle and teeth and bones.
It's so creepy. The more I look at this picture, the more disturbed I get.
It is. That's very true. Because at first you're like, oh yeah, it's some crazy muscle-y monster thing. But when you really have a good look at it,
look at its collarbone just weaved in and out of the muscle tissue there.
It's gross. This is also a wicked image and name for a metal band.
Carnophage.
Yeah. Wicked.
Yeah.
Yes, man. Yes. That's a great metal band name. Okay. I wonder how many metal bands take their names from Black Magic cards. I bet a couple.
Yeah. There's got to be 1 or 2 out there.
Got to be a couple. What's this next one here? Oh yeah, this
Well,
one.
Liliana's Reaver, 2 black zombie, death touch 4/3. When Liliana's Reaver deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card. See, there's that discard theme coming back again. And you put a 2/2 black zombie creature card token onto the battlefield tapped. Yep, just a screaming bald zombie
There he is.
with huge claws.
Huge claws. I like this card. So it's fun in a zombie deck. So yeah, it's nice to see a screaming bald zombie.
One of the most commander playable cards we've seen yet.
Yeah, and here's the thing: if you really went nuts on the discard theme, which you would kind of have to in this deck, this next one fits in perfectly, and it's just so happens to have a great screaming ball guy. It's Megrim or Megrim, 2 and a black for an enchantment. That's whenever an opponent discards a card, Megrim or Megrim deals 2 damage to that player. And look at that screaming baldo.
Wow.
He's not too happy with that.
Oh, wow.
It hurts.
Lots to scream about, yeah.
He's got a lot of energy coming out the top of that head. That's all I'll say about him. Yep.
That's a discard for you. Discard equals screaming and stuff coming out of your head.
It sure does. Okay, so next we have some screaming bald guys with their heads just getting wrecked.
Yeah, right? So sometimes their heads get wrecked, right? Like, so let's start with like a simple one, right? Disfigure, right? 1 black, instant.
Oh.
Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Someone burned a handprint into their face, and this guy is screaming because of it. His face is wrecked. His nose is straight gone.
Straight up gone. This guy looks like Nosferatu to begin with. Now he's got a wicked handprint scarred onto the front of his face forever. Yeah, tell me you wouldn't scream if that happened.
Yeah, man, totally.
Please. Next we have Wrench Mind. This guy's face is getting pure wrecked.
This guy
It's
is so wrecked.
unreal. This poor guy. Two black. 2 black for a sorcery that says target player discards 2 cards from his or her hand unless he or she discards an artifact card from his or her hand. This is from Mirrodin. It's like, so what's happening here? This guy's
I don't know.
getting a piece of, like, is he wearing something that's breaking apart? Was something thrown at his head that's also crashing and totally ruining this guy's head? I don't know. It's really disturbing. What is the sound of one head snapping? That's the flavor text. That's the flavor text on this. One head snapping.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Wow. Gross.
Oh man, this one's rough. Like, what is? I could ask questions about this all day. What's happening to the side of his jaw? What happened there? Where did, like, below his chin, up to the side of his jaw? What's going on?
It's almost as if the mental thought of an artifact is simultaneously coming out of his head and forming into an artifact while it comes out of his head.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey man, can you think of like a scepter? Wait,
Yeah.
where? Just wrecking your head completely.
Oh.
Oh man, yeah. Okay.
Sick.
Wow, Wrench Mind. Great.
Yeah.
Great one.
Okay, let's talk about Agony Warp. Is this the first blue card we've come across?
It
Trust me,
is.
There's a few blue cards in
Yes,
here.
it is. Yeah.
Blue-black. Instant. Target creature gets -3/-0 till end of turn. Target creature gets -0/-3 till end of turn. There's one guy. Both people are being twisted up like crazy.
Yeah.
One of them looks like a goat or something, or like a
Some
llama.
kind of demon, maybe?
And the other one is a person, a bald guy screaming while black,
Like,
I don't know,
ink or
Ink.
smoke of some sort.
ink smoke
Yeah.
comes out of his mouth.
It's like in movies when they have, like, when the black ink underwater, but you have that effect not underwater. You know what I mean? That's what it
Yeah.
looks like to me.
Yeah.
It's like a thick smog of some sort. Anyways, yeah, these guys are getting wrecked all over their bodies.
So wrecked.
That one guy's head is like upside down and way under his arm. So that's getting certifiably wrecked. And then finally in the in the category of guys getting their heads wrecked, right? Where am I?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have Mind Warp. Mind warp. Mind warp is X3 generic and a black for a sorcery that says look at target player's hand and choose X cards from it. That player discards them. So it's like Thoughtseize but an X spell. And oh my god, I've never seen a guy's head get more wrecked. It's just getting twisted and spiraled down into like nothing. Man.
Like genie shoes, how like they curl at the end of the toe.
Yeah.
This guy's head has been stretched into a genie shoe.
This guy's head has totally been turned into a genie shoe. It's like if you look at it, like he's got the longest head ever. He's like he makes Beldar Conehead look like, Willow or something. I don't know, but he's got like the longest head you've ever seen. Anyways, this poor bastard, mind warp. The hardest of wizards can have the softest of minds. Oh man, and he's got big old teeth, and just everything about this is disturbing.
Yeah, so disturbing.
And you can definitely tell that this is a bald guy who is also screaming.
Yeah, for sure.
Certainly.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, so screaming bald guys is super fun, but there's a lot of cards where the people are definitely screaming, but we can't prove that they're bald or not. But we suspect, based on, just the data we've collected, they're probably going to be bald.
That's true.
So let's talk about Distended Mindbender. It's an 8 generic for an Eldrazi insect 5/5, but you can emerge it for 5 black. And it says, when you cast Distended Mindbender, target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose from it a non-land card with converted mana cost 3 or less, and a card with converted mana cost 4 or greater. That player discards those cards. So there's some Eldrazi bug latched onto the top of a guy's head, so you can't see the top of his head, but for sure that guy's bald, and he's screaming up a storm.
Oh yeah, he's got a good old scream going on. He looks like a ghost already, so it's definitely over for this guy.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely screaming bald guy there. I mean, not definitely, but like we're pretty sure. Same thing going on with Screams from Within. We've got, I think this might be our first screaming lady, actually.
Yeah, I think this is a screaming bald lady.
Yeah, this is a screaming bald lady. 1 and 2 black for an enchantment that says enchanted creature gets -1/-1. And when enchanted creature is put into the graveyard, return Screams from Within from your graveyard to play. Again, wearing some sort of armor that definitely is covering her head. But upon, close inspection and with the history behind it, I think we can make an educated guess that this woman is in fact bald.
Yep. Let's move on to Grim Reminder. Similar situation, 2 and a black, instant. Search your library for a non-land card and reveal it. Each opponent who played a card this turn with the same name as that card loses 6 life. Then shuffle the revealed card back into your library. Black, return Grim Reminder from your graveyard to your hand. Play this ability only during your upkeep. Surely this is unplayable in Commander. Never. It's never going to happen. Who's going to play a card that has the same name that you played? You don't even get to keep it. You have to shuffle it back in. So what's the point? The point is there's a screaming dude on here who is probably bald, but his eyes and head are trapped under a weird Egyptian pharaoh helmet or something.
Yeah, some Mirrodin thing. You could run this in a deck if I'm running my Marquesa deck and so is this person. So then you could pay the 2 black, return Grim Reminder to from your graveyard to your hand, and then get Grim Reminder back and keep doing it. Of course, it's not worth it. It's terrible, but guess what? It's Screaming Ball Guys, so that's how you're gonna have to do it.
Yeah,
and
right.
The thing about Screaming Ball Guys is no one else is playing any of these cards, so this card gets even worse because of that.
I know, right? Did anyone play Wrench Mind? No.
Yeah,
okay.
No. Oh no! Come on. You don't want the guy getting his head pure wasted in your deck. Okay, so that was the screaming guys that are probably bald, but are definitely screaming. And then we have another category here where it's guys that are definitely bald and they're probably screaming. So first, let's take a look at Mindstorm Crown. Mindstorm Crown is 3 generic. We've actually featured this in decks before, so this card's not terrible. At the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card if you had no cards in hand at the beginning of this turn. If you had a card in hand, Mindstorm Crown deals 1 damage to you. I think this fit into a Darien build where we wanted to deal damage to ourselves, so it was pretty good. So
for sure.
Mindstorm Crown is cool. But look at this card, okay? It's a crown that digs into the skin of your head, okay? And this guy, we can see from this close-up view of the top of this guy's weird craterous head that he's definitely bald. He's got the top. He's got the classic horseshoe pattern. This guy's balding. But we cannot see his face. But we can see the blood running down from the parts where the crown is gripped into his skull and perhaps like right onto the bone there. So
and look at his furrowed brow. Like he's not in a relaxed mood.
No, this is not a relaxing crown. This is not something you're happy to wear. It seems as though this man may well be screaming. And in fact, if you look at the back there, you can see there's some magic swirlings happening, which generally come into play with screaming bald guys. So I think it's safe to assume that this is certainly a screaming bald guy.
Yeah. What about another bald guy who might be screaming? Inferno Titan. 4 red giant. He's got fire breathing for a red. He's a 6/6 normally, but whenever he enters the battlefield or attacks, you get to deal 3 damage divided as you want among 1, 2, or 3 creatures and or players. So obviously bald, this Inferno Titan, but the fire extends just down to his upper lip. So is that a fire beard? Is his mouth open behind that beard? Is he screaming behind it? Hard to tell.
Wait, no, you can see his mouth.
Can you?
Yeah, I think so. It's not all the way open, but I still think he deserves to be included in this category, and I'll tell you why. Because whether or not you can see his mouth, I think that he's starting a scream because it looks like he's doing this, like he's just coming out of the fire. So it's going to be
just this part.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You just cut him off. So it's going to be a like that, but instead we just got. Yeah. So we stopped him mid-scream technically.
Yes, okay.
But did we reach peak scream in this picture? Probably not.
And that sound bite you just gave us, it might be our second Mr. Bean reference in this episode.
Yeah, that's... Fire breathing. Yep. So maybe Hill Giant turns into Inferno Titan because he's also a giant.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Maybe eventually that's what happens to him.
He gets into fire real good and just.
Excuse me.
Okay. My volcano. Oh man, how did we? Rowan Atkinson is even bald. Okay. All right. Next, are we still on this one? Yes, we are. So guys that are bald, and they're probably screaming. We got Nameless Inversion here. Nameless Inversion is a tribal instant shapeshifter. It is 1 and a black. It is a changeling, so this card is every creature type at all times. And it says target creature gets +3, -3, and loses all creature types until end of turn. This is a classic bald guy. Certainly bald. We got a lot of energy coming down over the bald guy's head and shoulders. He's holding his hands out as if to say, "What have I done?" or something. And I do think we have a similar Inferno Titan situation here where Nameless Inversions is like in mid-scream/laugh. So I think we can count this one.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Wit's End.
I love this
5 black sorcery. Target player discards his or her hand. The discard effect is usually linked to baldness and screaming. Now we've such a close-up on this guy's eyes and nose. All we know for sure is that his eyeballs have been boiled to steam. So you're going to tell me you wouldn't scream if your eyeballs are boiled to steam?
Pure boiled to steam. There's a real up close and personal look at this guy's skin. The texture of his skin. You can see right up his nose. We're getting the furrowed brow. We're getting everything. Full-fledged view. And I don't see this guy having hair. Personally.
No hair. And there's no way he's not screaming.
Just look at this face. This is the face of a screaming man.
Yeah.
We got the lines next to your like nose and lip. You got the brow. Everything says to me that this guy, from like every other clue that his face is giving, says that this guy's screaming.
Yeah.
No question about it. And then we have you wrote this one down as controversial.
Controversial. Here's why. So this is this is the Oath of Limdul. Okay. Very complicated. 3 and a black enchantment. Whenever you lose life, for each 1 life you lost, sacrifice a permanent other than Oath of Limdul unless you discard a card. And then you can pay black to draw a card. So there's a skeleton who's like doing magic over a book, and it looks like he's screaming. But here's where the controversy is. Does a skeleton count as being bald because the scalp has rotted away and it's just a skeleton head?
Well, I asked you earlier, if you'll remember, with Carnophage, I said, just because you don't have any skin, does that mean you can't be bald?
Okay,
right?
But then it doesn't end there. So like it looks like he's screaming, but what if that's just the skeleton mouth hanging down from the skull? Like just limp there.
Okay. So
Does that count as screaming? Can a skeleton scream?
He certainly has no vocal cords. So you might say he cannot scream. But I would argue that this skeleton must have some organs intact because he has dressed himself this morning.
Okay.
Which means he moved his arms and legs around.
Sure.
And we know he can think about what to wear. And he said, okay, I'm going with my robe, my purple robe with the big collar and the shoulder pad things.
Could it be argued that's what he was wearing when he was turned into a skeleton?
It could be argued that. Yes. We would have to consider that. He certainly does not have a tongue because we can see through his mouth.
Yeah.
But he does have eyes.
Yeah.
But this has got to be magic at work here, right? These are not organs, I feel like. This is magic at work. And the reason I think ultimately I have to come to that conclusion is because if you look at his hand, there's certainly no joining like tendons or vessels or anything like that around his hand. It's just a bunch of floating bones.
We're really under the logic behind skeletons in general.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can assume that there's necromancy at work.
Certainly.
Animating them.
Well, Limdul is the necromancer, so yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So like we can assume that some sort of wail is coming out of his mouth, whether it's from vocal cords or just haunted energy. Either way, I think it's safe to say that a skeleton could be a screaming bald guy.
Okay, I love that we come to that conclusion, and I support it 100%.
Case closed. Skeletons are bald and they scream.
Yeah, certainly. Okay, so let's get to the portion of this deck where we talk about cards that could actually make this work as a deck, possibly.
Sure.
If you wanted to build this deck in real life, it's going to be a laugh for sure. Especially if you really preface it with the fact that some of these dudes are getting their heads racked big time.
So wrecked.
But there are some cards that make it worthwhile running 1 or 2 of these effects and maybe even doing a bald guy screaming tribal thing. The first that came to mind, of course, is Waste Not. 1 and a black for an enchantment that says whenever an opponent discards a creature card, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Whenever an opponent discards a land card, add black to your mana pool. And whenever an opponent discards a non-creature, non-land card, you draw a card. So this obviously works, synergizes well with all the discard that you'd be making your opponents do after looking at their hands and touching their heads and making them scream by pulling their thoughts out of their brains.
Gross. Another card that makes this deck work pretty well does feature a sort of screaming guy with a bit of hair. Liliana's Caress, 1 and a black. This is very much like Megrim. Whenever an opponent discards a card, that player loses 2 life. So I mean, this guy's screaming through a closed teeth thing,
Yeah.
like one of those screams, and he's balding, but he's got some hair.
He's got some hair. Another one is Sangromancer, 2 and 2 black for a flying vampire shaman. It's a 3/3. It says whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, you may gain 3 life, and whenever an opponent discards a card, you may gain 3 life. So this will help you stick around long enough to cast those generally bad spells, but and help you win hopefully.
This card does work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've seen this card be on the battlefield, and someone's like, "Well, I think we need to wrath the board, but that means this person gains 45 life."
Yeah. Yeah, Sangromancer does tend to, it can get out of hand pretty quickly.
Yeah, I like it.
Yep.
And then we might want to consider a better Grixis commander. I think Nicol Bolas himself is a decent commander because there's like a side ability that whenever Nicol Bolas deals damage to an opponent, that player discards his or her hand.
I'm looking for the other version that looks...
more fancy.
There it is. So this is one where he fits our theme, kind of. Here he is screaming.
Oh, yeah, at a little bird.
And technically he doesn't have any hair, so Nicol Bolas himself can be a screaming bald guy.
Yeah. An elder screaming bald guy.
Yeah, elder screaming bald guy. Dominaria's most ancient evil. Oof.
Neat.
So yeah, there you have that. But we did have some favorites.
Right. So instead of doing the 3 stars of the deck, because none of these cards like function especially well, we went with our top screams. Okay, so here's Sean's top 3 screams. Coming in at number 3, the Ogre Resistor. 2 red for a vanilla 4/3. Look at that scream. Wide open mouth, full of teeth.
A lot of teeth
Love that
there.
scream.
Big scream. Love it.
Yeah. Number 2, Crypt Wailing. You don't just get one scream here. You get a whole bunch of screams from a bald sort of zombie type of things with little wrinkly skins. 3 and a black for an enchantment. Single generic. Remove 2 creature cards in your graveyard from the game. Target player discards a card. Play this ability only anytime you can play a sorcery.
All right.
And then my top scream is Recoil. 1 blue-black, instant. Return target permanent to its owner's hand, then that player discards a card. I love that an entire blue dragon is coming out of his brain.
Yeah.
And the scream he's doing is less of like a top, like loud as possible scream, more just like a
yeah.
Stop.
It's like seeing something gross. You just go
Yeah, that's that guy's scream.
Sort of counts as a scream, I think.
Yeah.
I love Recoil. Recoil is one of the ones I think of when I think of screaming ball guys. It's one of the iconic ones for me. So speaking of iconic screams, number 3 for me is Addle. Addle is 1 and a black for sorcery. Choose a color. Look at that. Look at target player's hand. Choose a card of that color from it. That player discards that card. This one has one of the dumbest looking screaming ball guys you'll ever see. He has his head literally in a vice, and a sexy black witch wizard woman is certainly pulling the thoughts from his brain. This guy is not having any of it. He's screaming big time. He looks like, this is not going to mean anything to anybody, but he looks like a guy named Bill that I used to work with at a pool store. So whenever I see that, I'm like, Bill Dewsbury getting his mind addled. So there you go.
Bill from the pool store.
Bill from the old pool store. He used to be a professional wrestler. Okay, number 2 is Oblivion Crown. Look at this scream. The scream is nuts. To me, this is like best scream, period. He's got a crazy weird crown on. It's 1 and a black for an aura with flash, and it says... enchanted creature has discard a card. This creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. This is a mean looking guy. Like, this guy's in pain, but he's also gonna wreck you big time, right? Like that's his thing.
Yeah.
He's got the crown is just like shards of weird metal sticking out of his head. It's terrifying. But my favorite, and I think the best overall screaming bald guy, is Brain Spoil. 3 and 2 black for sorcery. Destroy target creature that isn't enchanted. It can't be regenerated, and it has transmute for 1 and 2 black. This guy, I don't even really know what's happening here. It looks like the top of a guitar is involved. He he has like a glove. Is that his hand? Some green stuff is shooting out of his ears. He's screaming. He's got a wicked good scream going on. He's super bald. Yeah, perfect. I love it. It was hard to choose between
scream.
Oblivion Crown and Brain Spoil for me, but I think the silliness of this one made it win for me.
I think you got it right. This is a great scream.
Yeah, great scream, great bald guy. Nailed it.
Oh, wow. That is the majority of the deck. No real surprises and discoveries because everything's a surprise, right?
Everything's a discovery when they're cards you'd never, ever play.
Yeah, right? But before we do the budget report, let's mention our sponsor, the Wizards Tower, again. Yeah. They'll be in GP Vegas. We'll be in GP Vegas. You can always use our coupon code Tower of Brews to get 5% if you shop at their store. But I'm going to give you a heads up that they gave us. They have pulled a lot of their inventory because they're going to bring it to GP Vegas. So if you go online to shop in the next little while, you might find less inventory than you're used to because it's all going to GP Vegas. But if you're going to be there, look for them binders.
Yeah, so if you another thing is they'll buy your cards off of you, right? So you're seeing stock is maybe a bit lower. Feel free to sell right back to them because that's when the card stores need the cards badly, so they'll give you a better price on it. And Wizards Tower always will give a decent buy list price for your cards. And if you do that and you're going to GP Vegas, the prices at GPs are always very competitive because so many buyers in one room, so many sellers in one room. So you can, I think you can really make your dollar stretch quite a bit, especially if you get that store credit money going after selling some cards. So look into that if you're in the area or if you're even just in the country, but either country that is, because Wizards Tower has an American store as well as a Canadian store.
Yeah, right?
Exactly.
Check it out.
Check it out, wizardtower.com. And, of course, mtgcanada.com is where you'll find articles written by a bunch of different cool writers, including myself and Sean. And Sean's most recent article, why don't you tell them about it?
Yeah, so it's the wrap-up article for a big series I did where each article is half of a commander deck based around one of the partners. So ideally, at the end of it all, you put any two of those lists together and you have a fully playable commander deck. There won't be any repeats in there. And then the idea is they're all sort of balanced, so you can just team any two up against any other two and just have a nice little multiplayer game going.
It seems like a fun, like not battle box, but like a board game version, like kind of the anthologies that are coming out, which we haven't talked about, by the way.
We have not. Yeah, I'll admit I learned a lot doing it, and there's a few. The biggest challenge is the lands. That's the hard because you can't preset the lands because you don't know if you're going to be 3-color or 4-color, and I don't think it's reasonable to have every possible combination of lands set up.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's the tricky part.
Yeah, that seems like it would be. So Wizard Tower, wizardtower.com. Go check it out. Tower of Brews, that's the code for your singles. Before we get to the budget report, I also wanted to mention I write for EDH Rec, edhrec.com, where I write a EDH bench warmers series. So it's basically, I mean, it's close to what we do here on the show, where we I'll take a commander and then build a deck around it, but I'm not allowed to use any of the cards on the EDH Rec site for that commander. So I think I most recently did. I don't even remember. I think I did Crewfix.
It looks like Niv Mizzet is up here.
Right.
Recently.
Niv Mizzet was the last one. That's true. So I did Niv Mizzet, and I just couldn't use any of the cards on the EDH Rec site, which often ends up with finding cool niche cards, but also just a completely different strategy sometimes. So look into that, edhrec.com. All right, let's get back to the old budget report.
This is where we take the cards and try to make them cost as much as a dollar bill with a bald guy on it, and then make that guy scream.
We grab his head, and we force the thoughts out of it.
Our Canadian listeners, I'm thinking of our $50 bill. There's a bald guy on our $50 bill.
Oh yeah,
I believe it was Prime Minister Mackenzie King.
that's right. Yes, it is. Good one, Sean.
Great. Right, so here's the most expensive cards in the deck. This whole deck is like not even $40 because most of these
Yeah.
cards nobody wants.
Yeah.
But the most expensive card is Child of Alara. Child of Alara does come in at just over $3, heading towards 4 there. That's our commander. But as we said, replace it with any Grixis commander for real. Great, you saved a few bucks there. Next most expensive card is Waste Not. That's that enchantment. That's when that was reprinted. That was super cheap. It came in the Yidris precon, but now it's back up to like just over 3. It's not quite at its old 5, but it keeps climbing up because it's a very unique effect. The next most expensive card, Liliana's Caress, almost $3. So not surprising. The 3 cards that actually have function are the 3 most expensive cards in the deck.
Not surprising at all.
Yeah.
Great.
That's a fun theme, man. Lots of laughs for sure.
Lots of laughs. And that's really the aim of a deck like this. You want to just, get people laughing, get lighten up the game, let people have a good time. I always say that if you and your play group or you and your friends have a couple of decks like this, it's good to bring them all out at the same time, because obviously then you're not just getting run over by someone's actual, competitive EDH deck while you're playing your Screaming Bald Guys deck. It's usually a lot of fun. It makes for wild, janky games, and yeah, I'd highly recommend it. It's great.
Just lots of laughs. This is when it's like the night's nearly done and everyone's in like a silly mood, and you're just like, I don't want to play another real game where I have to think a bunch. I'm just going to cast a bunch of Screaming Bald Guys, and every time I cast one, I'm going to mimic the scream of the thing that I cast.
I think it's about time, and this is a confession, and this is something that I know people have mentioned. I reached out through our listeners on our Facebook page, which by the way, if you're not following us on Facebook yet, go over and check it out, because we have some pretty cool discussions going on sometimes. Where we talked about what would we like to see in the next 100 episodes of Commander's Brew, and one of them was talking about personal decks. So I actually have to say that I've never built one of our theme decks. I've built some of our other, just ones that I thought were cool, ones good decks I thought would win, but I've never actually gone through and built a theme deck, whether it was our Hunks versus Babes or like a Lord of the Rings or something like that. Screaming Ball Guys. I think I really want to, and it was partially inspired by our friend Rob, who's now playing with us, who has some pretty fun themed decks going on.
I think we should try to get him on and just break down his cops and robbers deck, because that's a pretty fun. Like, the fun thing about it, I guess I won't go into it here. Let's just try to have him on soon, and we'll share the stories with him while he's here.
I think that's a great idea. Let's do it.
Oh, great! Sure. Oh boy,
great.
Man, what a fun episode! Stay tuned for that Commander interview, and see you soon. We're almost at 100.
Great, yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Otherwise, bye.
Bye.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It's the Commander's Brew Commander interview portion of the show, where we interview one of the commanders or one of the people from the cards that we featured today. Sean couldn't be here. He's very sad that he couldn't make it, but he had to run because he did get a turkey stuck on his head. So instead, we are joined by someone we talked about today, who I just recently met, and I'm very excited to have him on the show. It's the guy from Wrench Mind. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, man. Sorry. First of all, I didn't catch your name. I just wanted to get that from you.
Walter.
Thanks, Walt. Thanks for being
you can call
here.
me Walt. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, Walt. Thanks for being here. Now, we looked at your card today for, I think, the first time on this show.
Okay.
Card hasn't come up yet. Not a real big Commander played card, but can you just tell us what happened here? Can you just take us from the start, take us to from when this happened, and then we'll talk about what happened after. But how did this event happen to you?
Okay, well, it's very painful for me.
Yeah.
Right. Painful memories. I've been trying to work my way through it, but unfortunately, this is my most famous image, right?
It
If
is,
you look
yeah.
me up, you're gonna see this. You're not gonna see me with my family.
No.
You're not gonna see me, opening up my fishing store.
Oh, you got a
selling.
fishing store.
Yeah, I sell rods and bait.
Oh,
and,
wow.
tackle, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
It's good. Yeah, if you're up on 401,
Highway
Grimsby
401.
there. Yeah,
Sure,
yeah, up in Ontario there.
In Canada. Great. Okay.
Yeah, I'm in Canada. It's great. Anyway, yeah, I was feeling a little sore in my neck one day.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I'm gonna go. I got some benefits at work. I started a benefit package for my independent store. So I thought I'll go get my my neck worked on. I'll get some work done, chiropractor. But they weren't registered, so please.
That's always a dangerous move, it seems like.
Right?
Yeah.
I got wrenched so badly.
Oh my God.
I went for hot stone massage. But instead of placing a hot stone on my forehead, they whipped a sheet of granite at my head. You laughing at
I'm
this?
sorry. I didn't mean
Is this
to laugh.
funny to you?
No.
I got wrenched in the forehead with a slab of granite.
No,
That's
yeah.
the heaviest kind of rock there is.
Yeah, it's just
That's
because
the
you said
heaviest kind of rock.
slab of granite. It's the word choice that made me laugh a bit. I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at the fact that you got smashed in the head with a slab.
The news decided to use that photo from the closed circuit television to put all over the place. So if you Google my shop, this comes up second place as an image.
Ooh, wow. I'm so sorry. So now what it looks like in the picture, you're quite upset. It looks like you're even angry. And
Yeah.
So did that I mean, obviously anyone would be angry if they got smashed in the head with a slab of granite, but was there something that provoked this? Like, were you angry before?
Well, okay. They're trying to take my thoughts out of my brain.
Well, yeah, we all know that's
no,
yeah.
thank you. Those thoughts are my own. In fact, those were thoughts on how to expand my business. How to add to it. They want to take those thoughts from me? No, don't think so.
And they just took them from you. They did take them from you?
Well, they said, I'm going to take 2 of those ideas, or I'll throw this granite slab at your head.
Oh, no.
So I picked number 2.
You chose this?
Well, I better get your thoughts picked out.
I mean, I guess.
Okay, I'll make you a deal. Would you rather I take away all the memories of your childhood or hit you in the face with a 90-mile-an-hour hardball?
Okay, but let's call a spade here. But purging my memories of my childhood and losing 2 ideas of how to expand my bait shop are a little different,
Okay. Well, I'll tell you this much. I still don't remember anything about my business.
Oh, did they rob you of all the thoughts of your business? See, that's different. That's bad.
That's the curse. Or
is that just because you got smashed in the head with a piece of rock?
Got smashed in the head real hard.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Real hard.
So you didn't see that coming.
Full selective amnesia.
Oh, wow. That's a shame. So now there's some confusing imagery with this one.
You probably mean my weird cheek.
Yeah, I definitely mean your weird cheek and whether or not your head is exploding out of the rock that hit. Like, can you just take us through that a little bit?
Sure. Okay. So, have you ever been making a face that you thought was hilarious?
Yes.
And then your parents warned you, quit making that face, because if the wind changes, it'll freeze that way.
Yeah, okay.
Me and my buddies just got a new automatic camera, and we thought it'd be hilarious. You do that thing if you shake your face back and forth as fast as possible.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah.
Take a picture.
Yeah.
Well, we were doing that, but my face actually froze that way.
Oh, no.
So that's independent of the granite slab hitting me in the forehead.
Oh, my God. Now, I know you live in you said you live in Grimsby or whatever, which is...
Yeah, about an hour and a half north of there, yeah.
So you're from Earth. How did you get on Meriden when this happened? Where did you have to, how did you get there?
1-2 tickets off a radio contest.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. What radio station was that again?
Yeah, 93.8, The Spark.
Oh, okay. Cool. And the DJ, of course, is DJ Karn.
Yeah, yeah.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, right.
So
right.
he could help you move there. Okay. Well, that's cool. That's good to know. Maybe people should maybe stay away from that radio station even because it seems like it's a dangerous proposition to have you switching planes like that. And
Yeah, my message to everybody is before you have any sort of medical procedure, do your research.
right. Make sure they're accredited, right?
Make sure they're accredited.
Um,
Make sure there's no slabs. If you walk up there and it looks like the front is under renovations because of the piles of sheetrock,
Yeah.
and you're like, hey, are you guys renovating? And they say no, then that should be a clue.
Steer clear. Steer clear of that.
That was clue number one. I missed that one.
So what's next for you, Walt? What's next on the horizon? You've got this supremely messed up face right now. You're not only from the smashing and getting smashed in the face with a sheet of rock, you have this weird frozen like muscle spasm thing going on as well. So is there anything in the future where you think you might be able to use your face as an advantage because it's so messed up, or something like that?
Yeah, I'm trying to get involved in escape rooms. I'm trying to be the guy you're trying to escape from.
Oh, do they do that?
I don't know. I imagine there must be one with like a scary guy who's like trying to get you. That could be me.
Okay, I might suggest a haunted house. That might work out for you as well.
Yeah, haunted house. October's real busy for me. Real busy every October.
Okay, well, I mean, you know what? It seems like you're making the most of it, and
That's all you can do.
Yeah,
all you can do.
Well, you know what? I wish you nothing but the best. And is there anything you'd like to leave us on going out right now?
Yeah. Walt's Bait and Tackle. An hour and a half north of Grisby. Best. We sell fishing licenses. We sell live bait. We sell dead bait. But no granite slabs for miles.
All right, great. Well, next time I need some dead bait, I'll know where to get it from.
It depends where you're going for. Some fish prefer the dead ones.
I mean, maybe on not on this plane, probably. But anyways,
Wait, never gone for grouper?
I've never fished in Grixis.
Okay, yeah. It's good fishing out on Grixis.
Yeah, it's good fishing. Good zombie fish out there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for being here, Walter. We'll talk to you later.
See ya.
If you want to contact us, I'm at Sean Tabaris.
And I'm at Andy Holbone.
Send us an email at commandersbrew@gmail.com.
You can find out when we go live on Twitch if you follow us at twitch.tv.
And if you care to support us on Patreon, check us out at patreon.com.
And you can find our deck list on tappedout.net.
And if we forgot anything, commandersbrew.com.